We often hear talk about the hero of our story. What is a hero? It is a protagonist, specifically with noble virtues or admirable qualities, basically someone to look up to. Heroes can often embody cultural ideas. Writers can craft heroes that readers or listeners can try to emulate. You'll often see kindness, bravery, and strength, especially strength of character, in heroes. Think of Superman, for instance. Superman's motivations and actions are consistently trying to do what is right, trying to help people in need, and trying to thwart the plans of the villain who would victimize the people of Metropolis. As a focal point of the action, the hero's decision-making is the most important aspect of their character. Why is Odysseus hell-bent to get home from war? He faces death on his trip, but also temptation on a pleasure island with a goddess. Yet Odysseus protects his crew as much as possible. He stays focused on getting home to his family, and when he arrives there, exacts revenge on the suitors who bled his house dry and terrorized his family in his absence. Odysseus is kind to beggars and strangers, modeling culturally desirable behavior. And above all else, Odysseus is wily, quick-witted, tricking monsters and opponents alike with his superior guile. Odysseus, we are led to believe, is what Homeric Greek society wanted us to strive for. Not all heroes are supernatural. Some are quite ordinary. John McClane in Die Hard is just a New York cop in the right place at the right time. He uses his superior skill to uncover the villain's plot, coordinate a response with law enforcement, and even risk his own life to save others when he clears the roof of hostages before the bad guys blow it up. In the end, the hero kills the villain, stops the theft, and maybe, just maybe, mends his wounded marriage. Traditional heroes start off flawed but are redeemed by the end of their stories. When writing a traditional hero, have your hero's decision-making exemplify the best of what people should aspire to. Start the hero off in trouble, far away from heroism, so that their progression into the heroic is that much more obvious and, as a result, more satisfying. In the film Edge of Tomorrow, the Tom Cruise hero character is essentially a coward pressed into combat. By the end of the story, he has fought so bravely that he has helped turn the tide of an entire war. This pendulum swing is critical to the success of the story. The more distance you have between where the hero starts their journey and where they end it helps give the narrative an epic scope, reinforcing the importance of heroism, virtue, and living a good life. Yet some of the most delicious main characters are folks we don't want to emulate. They are called anti-heroes. The anti-hero is a central character who lacks traditional heroic qualities. In many respects, they act like villains. Perhaps my favorite anti-hero is Walter White from the series Breaking Bad. Walter lies to his family, steals chemicals, kills rivals, cooks meth for sale and distribution, and yet all the while we're somehow rooting for him to succeed. Perhaps because initially his goals are quasi-heroic, to make money for his family and pay for his own cancer treatment. I recently watched Griselda on Netflix. If you haven't seen it, please press pause on this recording, binge the whole 6-episode arc, and send me a thank you email at tiffinandwritingworkshop@gmail.com. I'll wait. So it was good, right? What I found compelling about Griselda Blanco is that in her mind, every illegal thing she did, she justified as being done on behalf of her sons. Her point of view was, I am providing for my family and keeping them safe. But as the plot progressed and near-death danger closed in around all of them, she was offered several opportunities to get out, and each time her gain would have been greater than before. It's not like she had a tough choice with a $15 million buyout in 1980s dollars. There is a great scene with her and her sons at a kitchen table. The sons are practically begging her to spend more time with them, wishing out loud that they could take a family vacation to a beach. And we know that all Griselda has to do is walk away from the life, take the buyout, hop on a plane with her kids. However, instead of taking the buyout, Griselda doubles down on her drug trade. She chafes at something she built from nothing being taken away from her. So she turns down a ton of money and instead expands her empire, seeks more wealth, and through deadly brutality, increases her personal power. Griselda, as an anti hero, was motivated exclusively by growing her own personal power, probably as a way of insulating herself, not her sons, from being victimized like she was in her youth. The story about her sons was just a smokescreen, a myth she told herself to justify her terrible decisions. And that brings us to the main point of this discussion. Both heroes and anti heroes need compelling reasons to act the way they do. Whether they are altruistic or selfish, kind or cruel, your central character needs that main motivation front and center for the reader to identify their big why. Why did John McClane stay on the floors where the crime was underway instead of trying to get out of the building and seeking help? Because his wife was in danger and he wasn't about to leave without her. Because he was a cop and he had a duty to fulfill. Because he needed to know why the hostages were taken in the first place. Remember, he did pull the fire alarm, shoot out a window, and roll a dead body onto a police car 30 floors below to get their attention. His why is front and center. Be on the lookout for any time a beta reader questions why your central character makes a decision or takes an action. Chances are the motivation, the reason for that choice, is just not clear enough for the reader. See you next week. Start writing.